Hi, welcome back to How-to Pottery. My name is Vanessa. Today I'm going to show you how to use your plate molds for slip casting and for regular clay. So you don't have to just be stuck with the slip casting for these. You can also use them for clay, which is what I do most of the time. I will pour these if I need like an exact set. But other than that, I use these as a template, and I'm going to show you how I do that too. We're going to start off with what kind of slip you're supposed to be using. For dinnerware, kitchenware, it needs to be a stoneware, so it needs to be a mid-fire or a high-fire slip or clay. If you choose to use earthenware on these, you can, but it needs to be for decoration. So if you're making decorative or commemorative plates, then go for it. But it needs to be stamped on it, and they need to understand that they're not really food safe. They are food safe, I mean, as long as your glaze is. But people are going to put them in the dishwasher. Even if you tell them don't do that, they're going to, because it's a habit, So if you've got a bunch of dishes that you can't put in the dishwasher, somebody somewhere down the line is going to, and they're going to break. Or they're going to stack them in the sink and they're going to break, because the earthenware is just not as tough. Now you can use terracotta and make some traditional dishes with these, terracotta slip. And then generally check yours. Your terracotta, you can fire to 1 or 2, which gets a lot hotter than 06, 04. But like I said, you need to check on that. Now the low fire slips work a lot better in these than the high fire, but there's your trade-off. They're just not very sturdy, and customers may get upset if you sell them a whole set of dishes that is too fragile. Now once you get your mold and your slip, now we're going to bind them. This is what I use to bind them with. It is a very heavy canvas strap. Be careful if you are going to be using the rubber bands. If you are, make sure you got the big thick ones that's meant for the heavier molds. If you try to use just like 5 or 6 of the little ones on these molds, you're going to be sad because it's going to break and you're going to have very expensive slip everywhere, and that is not going to be good. I don't want that for you. If you don't have any of these kind of straps, you could pick them up for about $5 a piece or less. These are the big long ones, so they're expensive, but you can get the thinner ones that are long, that aren't this wide, the thinner ones, and those work okay too, because they can take a lot of pressure. All right, I'm gonna get the rest of these banded up. If your mold is old, or if you see that there's gaps, you need to take some leftover clay, and it doesn't matter what, your high fire, your low fire, it doesn't matter. And you need to run the clay along this seam, so once we pour the slip in here, it doesn't all leak out on your table. Okay, so once you have your slip, and your molds are all bound, and if you have any leaks, go ahead and close those up. Then we're going to pour. Now the best way to pour a plate is in one smooth fluid motion. If you're using like a little solo cup and you're pouring it in there, it has time to dry, because these are going to absorb so rapidly that you're going to get lines in the plate, or you're going to get bubbles going around the edge and it won't go all the way to the edge. So if you can, make sure that you get something large enough. This is not dirty, it's clean. I don't know why they made it like this, very strange. It's for cooking. I don't think I would want to look in here and think that was my food. But I'm going to use this to pour it in here, and I'm going to try to get it in one pour. If you can't get it in one pour, it's okay, but you have to at least get it to the edges in one pour, and then the rest of it will be okay. Sorry about the noise from the goats. They are extra aggravated today for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, if you notice, my slip is that of a thick batter. Slow and steady. I can see it go down. That's perfect. And then we're going to fill up to the top, and we're going to stop. This little bit right here, don't be tempted to wipe this off, okay? It's going to cause a bigger mess. I don't care if you accidentally overflow it and it goes over the same, the whole thing. Leave it. The mold will do its job. Here in a few minutes, we're going to be able to just, oops, see? What a mess. See how that makes a smear? Yeah, it's not going to be good. But we're going to leave it in a few minutes, and we're just going to be able to flick these off of here. I'm going to go ahead and pour the rest of these, and then we'll talk about how long to let them sit. If you have a hard to manage mold, you might want to tip it and pour it sideways and then rotate it while you're tipping it. None of these molds are really bad about that, as I can remember. I don't use them very often because I don't like them. But I do remember the times that I did pour them that I didn't have that issue. On these, I am going to set a timer for 20 minutes because that's when we're going to check them. They will not be done in 20 minutes, but we want to check them and see. Some of these, I'm going to show you how to pour the foot off of them. Others, I'm going to leave most of that foot on, if not all of it, so I can show you how to remove it once it's done. Okay, our 20 minutes is up. Now I want to show you kind of what the slip that kind of fell over here, what it's starting to look like, and how to judge how thick the plate is. If you touch this, and it peels up off of there, very little resistance, we're halfway there. See, that's why I tell you not to smear it, because it'll come off. Let's look at some of these other thicker ones here. You can see the shine. When the shine completely goes away, it's going to be ready. This is not ready. You see the shine still on it? Right over here. Then we've got this one, which is one of the smaller ones. It's still real tacky. It's not ready. But do you see how it's caved in at the well? Do not keep topping these off. It is not necessary. So to see how deep it is, it's not very, how thick it is, I'm sorry, it's not very thick. So we're going to leave these probably another 10 minutes and let's see how it looks. Okay, it's been another 10 minutes. It's going to be 30 minutes total that these have just dwelled. I haven't messed with them. I haven't poured anything off. We've checked them a couple of times. The over pour here is kind of in between. It's in between good and needing to sit a little extra. This is a dryer slip that I buy. I buy this at Trinity in Dallas, and I can get it by the 5-gallon buckets. It's all stoneware. It's awesome. So if you are, and I drive like almost 3 hours to get to Dallas. So if that's y'all and you've got that little trek to make, load up the back of your truck. I go up there and spend hundreds and just load up, bring your 5 gallons and a big, strong somebody to help move them around. But my husband got tired of lugging them. They are so heavy. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do is I'm gonna pour off this small one. Where'd it go? I'm gonna pour this one off. The reason I chose this small one is because there's going to be more plaster to clay ratio. This is going to set a lot faster than some of these big giant ones. They're going to have to set a lot longer. But we wanted to try to see what the foot looked like poured, and this is the perfect candidate. Pour this very large one off. We're going to really watch it now to make sure that there's no release of slip that actually comes from the plate itself. That is super important that you keep an eye on that, because if you don't, you're going to be in trouble. Looks like we've left all of these in just the right amount of time. You know how rare that happens? I think because it's just so bloody hot in here. Now it is extremely hot in here. It's over 100 in the studio right now. So as you can see, these are drying and even cracking very, very fast. It's only been, we went to go eat lunch, so you're talking an hour since my last recording. This is one of the ones that we're doing solid. If you can see, it's getting there real fast. This one of the bigger ones that got dumped, you can see it's already separating from the mold, from the heat. So I'm actually probably gonna have to take this one out right now and take a look. This is the other one that we poured with the solid foot on it. This one is not suffering as much because it's super deep. But here's the other one that we poured off. You see how fast it's going? All right, let's see what we got here. Well, something happened and it didn't record. So let me show you what I just did. So this was here after pulling the top off. And basically all I did was come in here like this and remove this top part. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to put my tool here and remove the last little bit of excess. If it's still too thick of a foot for you, come back and keep doing it over and over. However your mold was meant to be. These are meant to look like they were thrown on the wheel, so perfection is not needed or wanted, really. Okay, step 3. The next step we're going to do is we're going to get our sponge with clean. I use distilled water. You can use sink tap water if it's not just completely flooded with chlorine and the other garbage they poison us with. That's for a different channel though, right? All right, hold on just a second. Okay, now you're going to take a damp, not wet sponge and come around and smooth everything out. If you got some really thick areas, now's the time to correct that or leave it. I mean, this is supposed to look like wheel thrown, clearly. So you are not looking for complete perfection. You're looking for the fingerprints and the hand touches. Okay, last step. While it's still in here, we're going to take our poof. And y'all should know what this is by now. This is just cornstarch, a t-shirt. That's it. Thin t-shirt, not thick. Thin t-shirt. So these are the different kinds of things that I can use. This is the one I use the most because it can go around corners. It's you just order these without the backing on it. This one is just a regular stamp with the backing on it. And this is something that I made myself so many years ago, I can't remember. But this is just with clay. That's it, and fired. So I'm going to show you how each one of these look. And you press it in while it's still in the mold. You see that? Well, we got cornstarch in there, but don't worry about it because the cornstarch burns out. Then this one, like I said, this is the one I use the most. It's just my name, my first initial and my last name. Now this one is for the Eureka art, made in USA. This is more of a branding thing. But I love this one too for certain items. And there you go. Now what we're going to do next, I want you to evaluate your mold at this point. I want you to see if it's pulled away from down here a lot, which this one is starting to, as you can see, but I don't think it's good enough yet. If I try to take this out right now, it will probably warp up. But if I leave it on here too long, well, it's going to crack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it. I got this undercut right here. Is I'm going to leave this for a little while to firm up, but not to the point where it starts to really shrink. I just want it firm, because if it shrinks, well, you're going to get an S-crack in here, or the whole thing is going to come up. It's not good. So leave it, and let's move on to the next one. So we can see right here, hold on a second, and I will show you. And you can look at your own molds. And you can pour your molds while watching this, and we can do this together. So if you can see, it's really pulled away everywhere but right here. This is common. This is so common. Don't worry about it. If you can do this and pull it away, it's ready. We left it in there the perfect amount of time. There's nothing stuck up here. Do the same thing on the foot of this one as we did that one. This one, I left a little extra in there. I didn't pour it all the way out, and you're going to see what happens. I wanted to show you this one because I don't use this very often on purpose, because do you see this groove right here for the plate? It has always been problematic. Either it sticks because of the suction when I try to pull it off, or it does this. You see these air pockets that get trapped because the mold is just not good. Sometimes you get molds that are just put together poorly. It's a poor design. So if this is the mold you have and it's the only one and you're just dying to use it, let me show you how to kind of fix this. Okay, we're going to start with the same slip that we poured in here, whatever that may be for you. And then where these air pockets are, we're just going to run our finger around. We're just going to run our finger around. See, I can feel that divot right there. I can feel that divot right there. You can see it. See, they're all the way around this. I just really don't like this. So what we're going to do to fix this one, personally, I just don't use it, but we're going to come back with the same slip that we used, and we're going to be super generous with it. Last one. While we got it here, we can go ahead and put our marks, which no, I do not use all three of these when I make stuff to sell. I'm just showing you. Now we're going to do the same thing as we did on the other one. We're going to lay our tool flat. Okay, now that we have that, you can take about anything and put it here and remove the excess. After you cut this off, you can also put this on the wheel and make your little, you know, your little spiral if you wanted to. You could do whatever you want. Just make sure this has the same amount of moisture or we'll get cracking. All right, so let's take this and see if we've already left it in here too long. Probably not. And your humidity and your heat are going to have a lot to do with this, so please keep that in mind. All right, so pull this off. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is the one I was just warning about. It is, oh wow, yeah, that really ripped it up. This is super thin and super small. So to leave this in, as long as we leave the big ones in, this is common. Okay, moving on. This one in particular is extremely thick. Extremely thick foot. Okay, believe it or not, it's still the same day. It's extremely hot in here, so I'm going to show you what happens if you were in a colder climate. Your results will vary. Okay. This is the biggest one that I chose, and this is going to be the smallest one. I think this is the bowl plate. What we don't want to happen is for this to sit so long that it cracks on the rim or separates from it, which it may have already done. That's why I don't like to do it this way much. If you feel your reservoir only half full instead of leaving it full, like full, you have less of a chance of that happening. So let's see. It's definitely done. Okay, you can see how chunky this is. So if I had to right now, I would put this on the wheel and I would take it down to about half, probably to right here, because it's still wet. And this is another one of those bowl plates. It's a whole set. I don't care for them a lot, but you know, some people do. So on this one, I would probably do the same thing. I would have to. I mean, this thing is a brick. It is heavy. So if you have to leave the foot, just do it to half. So I'm going to recycle these. You know, I'm not gonna keep this. Now I'm going to show you another way to use these molds. If you don't either like slip, use slip, can't find slip, but you can find clay. And everybody can find this clay. This is the stoneware clay that I get from Hobby Lobby. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna use our banding wheel. Okay, I've already told you can either make one or buy one. They're not that expensive. I would kind of invest in a nice one if I was you. I've got several, but this homemade one is my favorite. It's the right height and everything. So anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our poof. This is just cornstarch, remember, and we're going to heavily poof it. Now, this clay, when it's first opened, is super sloppy. Just warning you. You see this? And that's what you need. You need a super soft clay. The problem is it likes to stick. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to flatten this out a little bit. Make sure that you don't have any wrinkles, big wrinkles in it anyway. It'll make it easier on you. I'm not going to show you on the wheel in this video, but you get the idea. If you've got a potter's wheel, put it on the potter's wheel. Okay. Now you can use your hands and you can press it in. It's kind of like you would pie, but make sure that the thickness is the same. That's why it's kind of important to make sure that it's all the same way all the way around. Okay, Now we're going to smooth it out. So I'm just going to clean it up. And you do need to know that this is not going to turn out like your wheel throne or your slip cast plates. This is going to be a lot rougher, and you'll be able to tell it's handmade. Sorry about all the noise today. We've got goats throwing fits and getting ready for deer season, putting all the corn out, and there's always somebody doing something. Okay, so, oops, I'm gonna clean this up. Oh, it looked like I had an air pocket, but it's not. Okay, good. All right, let's get the other part of this mold. You're gonna line up the mold with it just like you're gonna put it back on to either store it or pour it. Make sure it's really where you want it. Everything's lined up the best you can get it. And then we're going to put a minimal amount of pressure. These will snap if you just sit there and put all your weight on it, so don't do that. Just very gently. All we're trying to do is make an impression so we can get an idea of where we need everything. Okay, so let's take this off. Yep, we got it. So if you can see, we didn't have as much clay here and here as we had everywhere else. So if you want this to be more precise and exact at this point right here, you can add some more. Just know that this is stoneware. And even though we're not throwing it on the wheel, it does have a bit of a memory, especially if you're going all the way up to high fire with this. So on this one, we're gonna come through, put this back on the wheel, and we're gonna trim it. Okay, give it a little push, see where we're at. Okay, so there you have it. This is how you use the mold without a wheel or without slip. Now I'm gonna let this dry up a little bit, same as I'm gonna let these sit. It's pretty warm in here, so it's not gonna take it very long. In fact, this one looks like it's already ready to come out just in the time that I've been filming. So you really do have to keep an eye on these. I'm gonna let this one sit for a few minutes and firm up, and I'll show you what this looks like taken out. Now, beings we didn't press it out the exact size. We may have some little lines in here, and I'll show you what happens if that's the case. Yeah, it's stuck in there. Okay, good. We want that. Now, let's look at this one. Remember this one? This is my favorite one because it's pretty stable. I like putting it on the wheel though. But this one is firmed up enough. If you can see, all the little edges are starting to get little teeny tiny cracks in them, and the overpour is starting to fall off. That means it's ready. Okay? So what we're gonna do is to remove this, we're gonna get a bat. We're gonna put it on here and flip it over. We're gonna make a pineapple upside down cake. Hold on a second. To make this work, you take your bat, you center it the best you can, okay? Don't get super crazy with it. We're just gonna flip it. If it doesn't release automatically, leave it sit for just a few minutes. Don't tap it or bang it or dig it, just leave it sit. Not for too long, you get a crack. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah, it's ready. It was really ready. This is actually just ready to put up and dry. That's all you gotta do. And now you have a really good, decent poured plate. And with this particular mold, looks like it came off the wheel maybe, huh? Now let's do this one. Now, I didn't thin this slip down any. It was super buttery thick. So if you keep having that problem where you're getting cracks from pouring too fast or a lot of air bubbles like we did on one of them, this one right here, then thin down your slip. And you can do it with just water. Don't use like the sodium silicate or the Darvon or anything. Just add a little bit of water to your slip, mix it up and pour it in. But let it be known that when you do that, it's going to absorb it really fast. So you have to watch it. And if you're doing a solid foot, you need to keep filling it up. Okay, let's see what we got on this one, because I think this one's going to have air bubbles in the rim. It usually does. Oh, it's not releasing. Okay, so this one is not ready. We're not going to force it. Let it it sit for a little while and see what happens. Let's see if the one that we just put on here is ready to release. Let's see if it'll stick to it for us. Yep. And there you go. You want to talk about a nice, rough, kind of like a Tuscan plate, if you will. This is the perfect way to do it. And remember, this is the one that we just flattened out the clay, put it on here, and smoothed it out. Go over a few things with you. I've got some accidents here that I want to show you. This one right here, I've just glazed. I actually did the foot on this on the wheel. This is this one here. Okay, this has only been bisque fired. I always bisque fire to 04 on these, and then the high fire that I use is usually 5. I don't usually go to 6 unless the glaze requires it. This is Potter's Choice, Cone 5-6, Amico, Junebug, PC10. This is a thick enough plate that when I put it in the kiln, I put it on its side to do the bisque firing. Now, for the glaze, I have got plenty of grog on the bottom of the kiln, and the shelves that I use actually have the kiln wash on them with the grog, and so as this thing vibrates and moves a little bit in the kiln, it's not going to warp up. Well, it has a less of chance of warping up. This is a failed one that I saved for y'all. You see this right here? This is another one of the plate molds that I have that are just terrible. So I had to take some clay and kind of smooth it out because it stuck to it. This one I finished off on the wheel. And when I put it in, it wasn't completely dry. And so do you see the warp? Up and down, up and down. This one is one of the small ones. And if you can see, it's got the same lip. It's part of the set of this one right here. And you may not be able to see this, but this did the same thing. It's the design. It causes a suction. And I poured it in here, and this was watered down slit, but I still got those problems. So every mold is going to have its problems. This one was finished off a solid foot as well. I did not pour the foot off any of these because I wanted to show you what they look like. Plates are not my favorite thing, as I think I've said over and over again, but sometimes it's necessary that you make some. So when that necessity arises, I hope that you kind of learned what not to do from this video and maybe even got a few tips and tricks on how to do it. I am going to go find some air conditioning, and I'll see you on the next one.